Warmly welcome to another interview from the Climate Week New York City broadcast. I'm here at the Stockholm studio and I'm going to talk to a really interesting person in the travel industry that are joining us from Copenhagen. But we are going to talk about how we can travel with as low fossil carbon footprint as possible, and how we next year, both of us, can go to New York by flying with sustainable fuel. With me, I have Christian Møller-Holst from Goodwings. That is a travel platform for all the green alternatives, and they're helping thousands of businesses to lower their carbon footprint. Together with Goodwings, We Don't Have Time and other partners are today revealing that we're launching a new initiative called Move the Travel. And it's all about addressing the fact that for many individuals and for many types of businesses, the travel emissions are often the highest emission among the whole of all the emissions. It can be up to 90%, and especially if you're traveling abroad to climate conferences like Climate Week New York and others. So those emission needs to be addressed. And Move the Travel is an initiative that is a follow-up to another initiative we have done before at We Don't Have Time called Move the Money. That is all about moving the investment from the problem into the solution. And this is something similar. We should not stop moving, but when we are moving, we should always choose the smartest alternative. Sometimes a digital conversation like we're going to have today is the best option, most efficient. Sometimes train is very good. Sometimes you need to fly. But regardless what you choose, you can always do it better. And you can often today actually do it without using fossil oil. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So with that said, I would like to give the word to you, Christian. Say hi to the viewers.
Hi, viewers, and hello to everyone joining New York Climate Week. Thank you, Ingmar, for having me on the show, and thank you for allowing us at Goodwings to partner with you on this super important campaign or initiative called Move the Travel.
Thanks, and I see this as something that we should have done many years ago, because we are sharing kind of the same journey. We are both business person. We have been entrepreneurs before we started the journey into doing something for the climate. And you founded Goodwings almost 10 years ago. In the same year, we founded We Don't Have Time. So it has been very interesting to see your journey and the way Goodwings have gone from an idea to something that are now used by many, many companies out there. Christian, what inspired you to found Goodwings?
Well, travel for work is for most companies a prerequisite for running or growing your business. And the entire sector of travel and tourism employs 1 in 10 of the global workforce. So in many regards, it's an industry that creates both opportunities and economic development. At the same time, it's an industry that does rely heavily on fossil fuels, in particular in air travel. So while the industry is benefiting people, you can argue that it's harming our planet. And that needs to change. So our mission at Goodwings is to, of course, serve the needs of businesses and when it comes to managing their business travel in an efficient, cost-effective way, but also on a larger scale to make business travel benefit both people and planet. And that's the journey that we've been on now for 9, soon 10 years. We've had a couple of versions of Goodwings, you can argue, a pre-COVID. Then, of course, COVID hit us quite tremendously for 3 years. And then we really re-emerged in January 24, and since then it's been going very, very, very well. I think the demand for conducting business travel in a smart way, but also in a more environmentally conscious way, is really growing, and that's the demand that we tap into and help clients not just report on emissions, but go beyond that, reduce, decarbonize.
And if you're explaining what Goodwings platform provide for like a consulting company with maybe say 50 employees or something, what can you give them and how does it work compared to other travel platforms?
So on the platform, you book everything you need for your business travel, whether it's air or rail, rental cars, hotels. We go beyond. I mean, the platform itself is extremely user-friendly. It's what you would refer to as next-gen booking software. So clients are, to a large extent, almost to the full extent, servicing themselves. If they need help, then we have a global network of agents that are standing ready to answer any customer inquiries on phone or email. But it is very much about managing your business travel. Then along with that comes added value for the sustainability teams, because everything you book through us, we very accurately calculate your emissions to the best standard. We help you set carbon targets. We basically help clients manage emissions as a finite resource. So you have a carbon budget that you need to stay within. You can then take that budget and divide it throughout your organization. Essentially, so each and every employee has a travel budget and a CO2 budget. And then, of course, we analyze all the data points in your business travel, and we provide very actionable technologies, software tools that helps clients reduce their emissions without, harming the business. But there are various ways, and I think we'll get into that in this interview, about all the low-hanging fruits that are still to be harvested, because a lot of clients are using today what you could call legacy software tools that really don't enable this transition. So it's very much a matter of providing the technologies that can enable this transition on a business level.
And we are also a client ourselves at We Don't Have Time, and I must say it's very, very. I mean, it's very nice, this functionality where you can set the budget and you need to adapt. It makes it very easy. If you see on a global level, transportation is about 16% of the emissions. How can we move the travel industry to lower that? Because it's not really moving fast enough if you compare it to other industries. How can we move faster?
Well, it is, or at least it should be simple. We should reduce our fossil dependency by scaling alternatives like biofuel or e-fuels, synthetic fuel types, all these so-called sustainable jet fuel alternatives that, from a life cycle perspective, can reduce up to 80% of the negative climate impact. The good thing about those fuel types is that we can reuse the existing fleet of airlines and airport infrastructure, unlike electric or hydrogen powered planes, which are new technologies, new aircrafts, and also, to a large extent, new airport infrastructure. So biofuel or e-fuel is a drop-in solution that you can use alongside fossil jet fuel, and in many cases, you can replace it fully. So in theory, it's very much doable. In practice, unfortunately, it seems to be less doable, because while we have the technologies, we simply lack the long-term commitments that give investors the confidence to move eSAF plans to FID, the final investment decision. So without this demand visibility, projects will continue to stall.
And this is very much what we try to achieve together with the Move the Travel initiative. We would like to increase the demand for greener fuel, greener alternatives when you travel. Because if you have the demand, the solution will scale and it will sooner or later take over. What is your? I mean, you were one of the. I think maybe you actually were the original idea that came, that we needed to do something together to really increase and create awareness around the solution, so that people knows that they can travel better. What is your expectation that this Move the Travel initiative can change? What are your hopes?
Well, I mean, if you look at the campaign as such, it's an initiative that intends to inform, educate, and inspire about ways of traveling that reduces the negative climate impact. It's a campaign that shows how much one's travel actually emits in terms of CO2, maybe also non-CO2, contrails and other negative climate impacts from emissions. It also informs about what is sustainable aviation fuel and builds trust around this alternative jet fuel type. So while the campaign provides inspiration for individuals and businesses looking to travel more consciously, it also allows for CO2 calculations when traveling by air, rail, or car. And if you look at it today, fossil jet fuel still accounts for 99.8 or 99.7 of all global jet fuel consumption. So travel needs to move. And we believe that we can make travel move in the right direction by providing science-based information, inspire with very concrete examples from either individuals or families or businesses who have taken a stand, like you have yourself, Ingmar. You've decided a couple of years ago that you refuse to fly with your family if it's fossil-based. You have an alternative, not flying or flying on an alternative to fossil jet fuel. And I think what we need to see is we need to see the examples. We need to be inspired. And we need to, above all, acknowledge our interdependence. Goodwings is a B Corp. We're a B Corp certified company where we're actually among the first Nordic companies to get this certification. And one of the key elements in the B Corp movement is the notion of interdependence. We need to acknowledge our interdependence here. Many airlines are run by smart, friendly, conscious people who have probably tried to introduce it decades ago without luck because there is no demand. So we need to come together as airlines, as travel management companies like I represent, fuel producers, technology providers, banks, financiers, policymakers, all rely on each other to make this transition viable because we cannot do it in silos. We need to work together. That's what I want to see from this campaign is this notion and acknowledgement of the interdependence. Then I really think we can start to move the needle.
I agree. And I see, I mean, if we compare what you can do in travel, you have alternatives. It's not, I mean, if you have, many people knows today that if they can't afford buying an electric car, they can at least buy more sustainable fuel that is not coming from fossil. So that's a solution that are at hand that actually many are embracing. But when it comes to flying, for example, people are often not even aware it's possible, and many times it's very hard to do it because you don't know where to buy it and how to buy it. And it's also a lot of confusing around, is it better? Is it, I mean, if it's fossil free, where it comes from? Is it from palm oil and stuff like that? I mean, it's a lot of challenges here. It's not like a silver bullet. But what I see a big, something we really hope that we can achieve together with this is to get people to understand the economy behind it. Because almost everyone in climate, one of the lowest hanging fruit if you want to live more fossil free is to change your electricity provider. Instead of buying coal power plant, you can have a green electricity utility that are providing you with a clean energy. And everyone understands that if they have a green electricity provider, the electrons is not coming from that wind power. It's coming from the nearest source of power source that can be fossil based. But the funding are going to that wind power. So it's like where the money ends up, that is the main thing. And when I say to people that when I'm flying, I always try to do it with alternative to fossil fuel, they are always skeptic. Yeah, but can you really do that? Are you sure that your plane are really fueling your kind of fuel? No, that's not the point. For me, it doesn't matter if I'm funneling money to the fuel that are used in another airplane. It just needs to match my contribution as a consumer in that case. because that will, in the end, not funnel the money to the fossil fuel extraction. And that's what I mostly care about. And that is, in the end, also lowering the emission. So it's many ways of reasoning here, and we hope to trigger a debate about it, but we are also developing the tool that we help people that wants to travel better, smarter for their business travel as individuals, but also the company that can implement policies as such and learn a lot of things. And everything is not black and white. Some are gray. Let's talk about that. Let's share the facts, the solution, and show that things can be done in a better way. If you see into like 5 years from now, where do you think the travel industry, have we cut the travel emission by half from 16 to 8%? Do you think it's possible?
No. If you look at the fact that we have the technology today to scale up bio-based jet fuel or to start producing synthetic e-fuels, synthetic sustainable aviation fuel or e-fuels. The biggest problem here is the lack of demand. There is no chance of significantly scaling the production capacity if we don't solve this chicken and egg issue. Because obviously the cost of SAF is tremendously higher than fossil jet fuel. As with any new technology, you need to reach a certain level of scale before it becomes more efficient, or you need to policy your way out of it. But I don't see that happening right away either. So I'm optimistic on the long run, but you asked me about the short run. I don't think short term we will be able to fix it, but hopefully what we can do in the short term is to lay the tracks that we can, start to move in the right direction. But it says a lot, right? When 99.8% of global jet fuel consumption is fossil based. So we need to do a lot. And I would say, while we're creating the demand and while we're stimulating this acknowledgement of interdependence and really coming together in what I dream of, like a CEO-led coalition. Like right now, defense and defense investments, defense tech in Europe is going, bananas for good reason, because we have the threat of Russia. And everyone is talking the coalition of the willing. What I envision is a coalition of the willing, the companies that move ahead and say, we will do our part to contribute to this transition. Then the only thing you need to do as a company is to commit to purchasing X amount of SAF for the next 5 or 10 years. If we are enough companies, we could actually move the needle.
I thank you for an honest answer to that. The green transition is happening, but it's going too slow. And the only way we can speed it up is that everyone are doing more than we are doing today. And what leaders and companies can do is setting an example. And it's also creating a demand for things that are not depending on extracting old dinosaurs and burn them. And if I would like to end this interview myself, I would say what I'm hoping for with this move to travel is that more companies in the travel industry are joining. Everything from, train companies, airlines, car rental companies. Let's bring them on. We have some in the beginning, but we want to become more. So we really can change things together. And what I think is achievable to change in 5 years is the narrative. Today, people are talking about, are you traveling with fossil-free fuel or something like that? I want people to start talking about, are you traveling on fossil fuel? That is very old school. That is very bad. So everything should say, I'm traveling with fossil fuel, if they do that. But if they don't do that, the green and the non-fossil should be the baseline. And I think we can swap that narrative if enough leaders are picking up the sleeve here and just do what it takes. And it's not complicated. So join us.
May I add one thing? I know this was your ending remark, but let me just add one thing. While we're waiting and while we're working, because we're not just waiting, we're working for change. While we do that, there are so many low-hanging fruits to take, such as take rail, choose to go by rail, if possible, flight direct, instead of booking last minute. This is something that we see in our data, is that a lot of business travel bookings are made last minute, which means that even on not very complex routes, you have to fly via a connecting airport. So tighten up your travel policy, not allowing last minute bookings to enable your staff to increasingly fly direct, because every takeoff contributes quite a lot to the overall air travel emissions for business travel. Choose economy, choose premium over business. I know it's nice to sit in a business class seat, and you can argue that it makes sense if you have an important meeting and it's a long haul flight, but think twice. Perhaps do what a lot of our clients are doing now, which is to send their employees on business trips one day before so they can rest and be ready for the meetings. So there are so many things like bundling your trips, flying direct, choosing rail over air, or not going on that trip, taking a Zoom meeting like this. You and I are
like
not
we
in
are
New York
doing
right now. So sometimes it actually works. It will not replace business travel. We need to do business travel, but we need to do it in a much more conscious way.
Yeah. And if you do that, you often find a lot of other, advantages. You will save money, you will save time, you will get happier employees, etc., etc. So if you want to do this, check out wedon'thavetime.org/move-the-travel. You will get advice, you will learn a lot, and you can also compare different ways of traveling and see the carbon emission. And if you want to do the action later on, check out Goodwings, because they have an amazing platform to really deliver what you need in a simple, efficient, and price-worthy way. So let's do it together. Move the travel. Thanks for watching. Bye.